Welcome, lords and ladies, back to the realm. I am your humble host, the Goat King, and today we feature the Varculak. As always, the Varculak can be found in Alien Archive 3, or linked below on the archives of Nethys. The Varculak, also known as Soul Whites, aren't truly a distinct species, rather they are a particular kind of undead. The research I've been able to find on them links to a pre-Gap figure known as Varculak. A human, supposedly this Varculak became the first Soul White, and if the rumors are to be believed, it is with him that every Varculak deals to get their second life. This would suggest an explanation for why Varculaks lose any limbs or sensory organs not typical of a human. Since just about any species can receive the curse of Varculak, these modern Soul Whites can vary greatly in stature and form. Varculak are not fully undead. They need food, drink, and sleep as much as most living things do. Though they do resemble a corpse when sleeping, and waking a Varculak is nearly as difficult as waking the dead. They do not need to breathe, nor are they harmed by the hard vacuum of space. While they do not have all the immunities associated with undeath, they do have some level of resistance to all the things undead are normally immune to. They do benefit from healing effects, though those effects are only half as effective if the individual is at 0 hit points. It is more difficult for a Varculak to cling to life while dying than for most living things. They also have a weakness to silver weapons. This affinity for death can be used offensively, granting a draining effect to melee weapons that can be quite disorienting to the victim. Varculak can have trouble fitting in with those of their original species, as they can be quite off-putting to look at. The most common emotional reaction is to find the Varculak vaguely threatening and untrustworthy. Most Varculak choose to take up a life of adventure. They can even be quite prone to risk with their second life. Despite this, their life expectancy is usually in the ballpark of 3 to 6 centuries. Unfortunately, this zest for life is not universal. Typically, a Soul White retains almost no memory of their past life. Some few, however, retain fractured memories of their death, and it haunts them. These Varculaks are driven by a thirst for vengeance they can neither escape nor quench. This leads to a chain of murders with ever more tenuous connections to the Varculak's death. From the attacker, to their accomplice, to a bystander who didn't do enough to help, to the designer of the weapon used. This chain only comes to an end when the Varculak in question dies. And those driven by this lust for revenge are lucky to count their second life in the decades. Thank you again for tuning into Starfinder Spectacular Species. I've been your host, the Goat King, and as always, travel with loyal companions.